so Sam can get to his next meeting.
An Eagle Scout ceremony tonight, so.
Perfect. All right, I call this meeting to order. This evening, Waynesboro City Council will conduct a special meeting by electronic communication means to consider authorizing the certification requirements to receive allocations of CARE funds. Council members will participate remotely in accordance with the city continuity of governance ordinance in Virginia law. The city will broadcast and live stream this presentation. Citizens may participate in the citizen comment period by calling at the appropriate time. The phone number to call is 844-844-9200. When prompted, you'll be prompted to enter an access code of 398145 followed by the pound sign. That number again is 398145 followed by the pound sign. You will hear question and answer session has started. You will then press the star key followed by the number 6. You will hear, if you would like to speak, please press 1 to be added to the queue. Press 1 while you are in queue. You will hear the audio feed of the meeting. Wait until you are prompted by the moderator, then share your comments with council. Participants are reminded that through the pre-recorded prompts referred to questions, the public hearing and citizen comment portion of the meeting are a time for council to simply hear your concerns or comments. With that, we'll move to item number 2, which is adoption of tonight's meeting agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look at the meeting agenda? Do we have a motion to adopt this agenda?
I will make that motion.
All right, Sam, thank you. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Terry. Terry second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all. I forgot the discussion part, sorry. Item number 3 is consider authorizing the certification of the second and final allocation of CARES Fund. Mr. Ham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. This money originates at the federal level, and you may recall that in May, Waynesboro was notified of an initial allocation of $1.9 million. While the money originates at the federal level, the feds have delegated or distributed the money to the states. The Commonwealth, at its discretion, is providing allocations to localities in the Commonwealth according to population. And because of that, our second and what we understand to be the final allocation of CARES funds is also $1.9 million. Just for informational purposes, urban areas or cities with populations of 500,000 or greater receive direct allocation from the federal government. The Department of Treasury establishes the requirements and limits for the funds. Our meeting this evening is necessitated because the Commonwealth is requiring that localities certify and communicate back to the Commonwealth acceptance of this allocation by close of business Monday, August 10th, and that precludes us from considering the matter at our regular business meeting. So I appreciate your willingness and to assemble and call this special meeting to consider this. CARES relief funds may only be used to cover costs that, 1, are necessary expenditures incurred due to public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019. 2, were not accounted for in the budget most recently adopted as of March 27th, 2020. And 3, were incurred during the period that begins March 1st, 2020 and ends December 30th, 2020. The guidance for these funds has been evolving and updating on a regular basis. While those 3 basic and fundamental requirements seem obvious, our staff and staffs of other localities in the Commonwealth have gone to considerable research and examination and effort to ensure compliance. And compliance is a key point because the Department of Treasury stresses to fund recipients that if it's determined that they use funds or subrecipients use funds for non-allowable expenditures, the locality or the recipient may be required to pay those funds back. That basically is my presentation tonight. Again, your task or the request to the council is relatively simple. We went through a certification in May. By simple motion, I'll ask that you authorize the mayor, the city manager, and our director of finance, Mr. McCormick, to certify our receipt of the funds and make a commitment that we'll follow the guidance associated with them. Unless there are questions, that concludes my presentation.
Any questions of Mike?
I'll make a motion to, if I may, to accept the funds and certify those funds.
Thank you, Terry.
And authorize, I'm adding to the motion, authorize.
And authorize the mayor and city manager to enter upon the agreement.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Terry. Terry's made the motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Sam. Terry made the motion, Sam second. Is there any discussion about this motion or about the funds that we're about to accept? All right, hearing no questions or discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you all very much. That brings us to item number 4, which is the public comment period. And as I mentioned before, I'll give out the phone number and the meeting number one more time. The phone number to call in if you want to make a citizen comment is 844-844-9200. When prompted for an access code, you will put the number 398145 followed by the pound sign. When you hear the word talking about question and answering our question and answer session has started, press the star key followed by the number 6. If you would like to speak, it's going to ask you to press the number 1. At that time, press the number 1. You will be placed in queue. When it's your turn to speak, the moderator will let you know that it's time to speak. Any phone calls?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, we do have a caller.
Okay. Caller, the line's open if you want to state your name and your comment.
Coming in there. Doesn't look like the caller's coming into the queue.
All right, caller, if you're still able to hear and you're online, can you press the number 1? I'm showing a phone number there that's not muted or anything.
That's our call line. The caller may just be listening to the meeting, but it's not coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a text message from someone, Mr. Mayor, it stated that they were having difficulty connecting on the video feed, so perhaps they were calling in and maybe just listening in. Just at the beginning of the meeting. So maybe that's what it is.
Okay. So caller, if you're here to make public comment, should they back out and try to come back in, or?
They may just be listening to the meeting rather than
Okay.
calling in.
All right, so without anyone coming into the room to make comment, that brings us to item number 5, which would be request a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Q&A session is over.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Terry. Is there a second on that motion?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Sam. Do we have any discussion on adjournment? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Great. Thanks for putting it together.
Thank you.